Hello, I'm Soo Wong, MPP for Scarborough-Agincourt. I'm very pleased to be joined by Kevin Huong, currently a student, a second-year student at U of T Faculty of Music, and also a recent graduate from Dr. Norman Bethune Collegiate. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here and ask you about the new changes coming up to the OSAP programs, because I've been talking around with friends and my faculty and my peers, and there's so much buzz going around about this new OSAP and student assistance program. So I was wondering if you can elaborate on that a bit more.
Okay. So thank you so much, Kevin, for having this conversation with me. As you know, last year the Ontario government made a bold decision to address the student aid issue. And we have made new changes to the OSAP. So starting this year, university students like yourself will have an opportunity to have free post-secondary education. And so there are a number of pieces that your peers and incoming students from currently in the high school need to be aware of. And I'm going to share that with you in this conversation today.
And I think it's so important because students like me want to know about how we can get funding for education for post-secondary, because it just takes so much more of a lighter weight off our backs, because we want to be assured that we can go to university and be successful without having the burden of financial.
And we hear that concern too, Kevin. During the budget consultation, as you know, I've been very involved as your member of provincial parliament on this conversation about young people and making sure post-secondary education is affordable but also accessible. And so I want to encourage your peers and yourself included to check out the ontario.ca OSAP website so that you can calculate how much grants that you will get. You know, in grants, we mean that you will not have to repay. And the important piece is that young people need to check out that website. But not just young people. For the first time in Ontario, mature students will also have equal opportunity to access post-secondary. So I want to make sure that your peers, whether they are currently coming from directly from high school to post-secondary, but they're mature students, okay, for a variety of reasons. They left school early and now want to better themselves. So mature students will get equal opportunity to have post-secondary education, because we as a government recognize that when young people are given opportunity to go post-secondary education, receive the post-secondary education, they will have more opportunity. In this global economic market, they need the post-secondary. It's not like they just finish high school, they can go on to become successful. So this new OSAP program, there's some of the factors that in terms of eligibility will include they have to be Ontario residents, of course, and that they are either permanent residents or Canadian citizen, but also they need to enroll into a recognized OSAP program, okay? So the OSAP program, whether it's in Ontario or in other parts of Canada, so they have to be recognized OSAP recognized program. The other piece here is that they have to be full-time students, full-time post-secondary students, enroll into a diploma, certificate, or degree program that is minimally 12-week program, okay? Because the program is for full-time students. That's very, very important. And the other factor is that the students, whether they the family is based on if they're dependent students, meaning that based on the family's income, that the family income 50,000 or less, their tuition will be free. But also for what we call independent students, meaning these are mature students who are living on their own for the last left school early, and for about 4 years, if their annual income is 30,000 or less. And then also for married students, okay? So married students, you know, you have some students who are
mature
married,
students,
mature students married, and their family income is 50,000 or less. They are also eligible. And then the other piece that we need to make sure is that some students who are not eligible, meaning that they already have a large scholarships, because you know some of your peers have a large scholarship, so they may not be exactly. So they will not be eligible. The other factors that will be in consideration that may not be eligible is that the students already have maximized the OSAP limits. Because OSAP usually for 4 years program, right? And then they already maximized. So to figure out whether they're eligible or not, I'm going to encourage your peers and yourself to check the ontario.ca backslash the OSAP calculator, so they can identify how much grants they will be receiving.
And it's really important because we want to know.
Yes.
We just want to know how much it can help us.
Absolutely.
And I think that also begs the question about repayment. And I
That's
just want to talk about that for a bit and how we can repay these loans in the future after we graduate or after we find a job.
Okay, so very good questions. As you probably in the situation right now, Kevin, that you already finished, soon to be finishing 2 years of undergraduate program. So the new OSAP is not retroactive, okay? So moving forward, there are a couple of assistance the Government of Ontario is providing. So first of all, since last November, the newly graduate students who are single, until they earned $25,000 annually, they do not need to pay back the loan.
Right.
Okay, that's a good thing. That's very, very important. Okay, the other piece that's very, very important is that there is some negotiation in terms of repayment. All right. Okay, starting this September, the repayment assistance plan, okay, whereby through the Ontario student grants, whereby the maximum OSAP, so starting this September, the maximum OSAP debt the students incur will not exceed $10,000 for 2 academic executive year, okay? It's very important, so that way we restrict the number of loan, a debt for the students to repay, okay? Because at the end of the day, as we're moving forward, we know low income and middle income families will have an opportunity to access. But for those of the students who already have some debt, we're going to make sure that it's not exceeding that they cannot repay.
And that's so important for recently graduated. I have friends that are recently graduated or just graduating this year that are worried about the looming OSAP debt that they're having.
And then the other piece about the changes also is that as long as they're full-time students right now, it's interest-free for the OSAP, okay? The other piece is when they graduate, the repayment of the loan is not until after 6 months. So the 6 months is the key factor. Then the next factor's consideration is the minimum earning. They must earn $25,000 or more before the repayment is required.
And that's so important because coming out, especially speaking personally, coming right out of university, it's going to be hard for me to find a job right away.
Exactly. And these are things that we have heard, the government has heard in terms of young people, that we need to make sure post-secondary is accessible but also affordable.
Absolutely. And even speaking about that, in the climate today, in the employment climate today, we're talking about not just having an undergraduate degree, not just having a diploma, but going further for education. For example, I'm in music education at U of T and I want to be a music teacher, or I want to do my master's in music or in education. How would that help me get funding for that?
Okay, so this particular new OSAP technically right now does not cover for the higher education, meaning a graduate school or the professional faculties, like whether it's engineering, medicine, dentistry, because those programs are higher tuition fee, as you know, right? So what the students need to do, first of all, check the Ontario.ca, the calculator, the OSAP calculator. That's the first piece, to check out the eligibility. The other piece is that I'm going to refer the students back to the institution. So in your case, U of T, there's a financial aid office, and have a conversation with them. So if you're planning to graduate, to go to grad school at U of T, you will be approaching the financial aid office at U of T, or whatever colleges or university in your that you'll be attending, because their office will be able to assist you, because there's certain programs the fees are much higher because of the professional programs.
Right. And it's so important to me personally as a student, because I'm a first-generation student. I'm a first-generation immigrant. I'm the first person in my family to go to university. And it's so important for people of my status to be able to go to university without that mental burden. It helps with mental health. It helps with getting through university or getting through college or post-secondary degree without that burden on their backs.
Absolutely. And you know what, let me begin by congratulating you, Kevin, because you now set the tone for your family in terms of accessing post-secondary, and congratulations on that piece. But we recognize, the government recognize the fact that young people like yourself, you know, in your 20s, that you cannot be settling with such a debt that paralyze you in terms of stress, in terms of learning, but also moving forward in terms of your personal lives. How are you going to repay? How are you going to be successful in your other pathway, right?
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, we need to make sure everybody's given the same opportunity.
And it's important. I have a brother. I have a 12-year-old brother at home, and he wants to go to university too.
That's right.
And so it's so important that this government is doing this.
Yes, and I think we have heard, I know some of the student union has approached the government during the budget consultation about this issue. And for your brother, who's now 12 years old, as I recall you saying that, they now see what this new OSAP program going to help them. Right? Because there are thousands more. If this OSAP program was available right now, Kevin, over 200,000 students in Ontario right now would have got free education. Now, moving forward, we need to make sure every young person who wishes to go to school and have the ability to go to school, because there are reasons why some people may not be able to go to school, that they can. The access piece is really important.
And yeah, I want to be one of those 20,000 people. I want to
200,000.
I want to be one of those 200,000 people that is helped by this program.
That's
and
right.
I want to make you, I want to make the Ontario proud. And so thank you so much, Sue, for speaking to me about this and answering my questions about the program. I really hope that this will prosper and that will spread the word around. Thank you.